If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
Fine. So guys, in our sessions last week is where the first session on last Saturday we had the demo, and the second session is where we had an intro, just giving all of you an idea about the success factors, the systems, the modules that we have in it, the high level navigations into the system, some standalone tools, the plug and play tools that we can use in terms of password reset process, email settings, all that. And coming to the agenda today, we are going to focus on the day one activities. So before we get into the module level configurations, you are required to know about the things in terms of the way how you start dealing with the initial days in the project when you are allocated. So the way how you get the access to the customer systems. So in that basically very important system is provisioning initially. So how do you get that access and how do you maintain the settings in that system initially, and off-yearly updates when we get the new updates from the system. So how do we maintain that off-yearly upgrades, and a concept called theme manager that will control the look and feel of the system, the color combinations of the screens, all that. So these are all our primary agenda for the day. We'll be discussing one after the other, and if we still have some time, we can also take up some other topics. So before I initiate with the today's discussion, is anyone having any questions on the previous topics last week, basic sessions that we had? Now let's get into the things in terms of the day one activities, gentlemen. So whenever you are done with this training program, and if you are going to be working in the real time, and if someone comes to you and say that Mr. Shiva, you are allocated to this project, Mr. Suresh, you are allocated to this project, so then what should be the first activity as a consultant one should be aware of is what we are going to discuss in that regard. Let me open one document for you. So as we know, these are the two systems, guys, whenever we are going to work on the success factors configurations, provisioning and instance. So these are the two systems that we will be working on. And as I already mentioned, the provisioning is a main system. Of course, the set or the percentage of activities that you do are very less. Max 15% of the activities only in the project will be under the provisioning. But that basic things what you do are very much important, which is all about the activating the things. If you don't activate, okay, so if you don't activate the modules or features or functionalities in the provisioning, the rest of the configurations can't be done on the instance side. So provisioning system access is what you have to first get. And for getting it, obviously you should be certified. Only certified success factors consultants will get the access to the provisioning system. And whenever you're allocated to the project, and if you're going to work on the activities like to get the access to the system, first of all, so for getting the provisioning access, you have to visit this portal called HXM Cloud Operations Portal. HXM Cloud Operations Portal. So in this portal, we will be able to fill some details of that project, for which project you are requesting the access. And if you submit the request, within max 5 business days, SAP will be releasing the access for you on that customer's system. Okay, so before you go into this portal and raise a request, you should first take an approval from the client side project manager. So example, you are an employee of IBM as an IT company, and the project is for Coca-Cola. Your client is Coca-Cola. So you have to take an approval from the client side project manager, that is the Coca-Cola project manager. So they have to say, so we are approving Mr. Shiva to work on employee central module in our project. We are approving Mr. Naresh to work on the performance management module in our project. That way, there should be an approval statement from the client side project manager approving you to access their system and work on their project. So that approval email is what we have to take from the client. Second, in that email, we also have to get the information about the customer ID. For every project, we'll have one 10-character ID that will be allocated, guys. If it is Coca-Cola went for SAP SuccessFactors license, for Coca-Cola, one 10-character unique ID will be given. If PepsiCo goes for the SuccessFactors license, for that company also one 10-character unique ID will be given, a project ID kind of. So that is a customer ID, you can say. So that is what we have to ask the client. So what is the ID that has been given to them by SAP for their project? And one more thing, the data center. As I told you, we have around 15 data centers across the globe where SAP is going to host the customer databases. So in which data center the client's database is hosted? Is that in the Sydney data center, or it is in the Saudi Arabia data center, or in Singapore? The client will have the detail from SAP and they have to share that as well to us. So they have to provide us the approval, the customer ID allocated to them, and the data center where the database is hosted. Three things they have to give us in the email. With that email, we have to go to this HXM Cloud Operations portal, attach that approval email, and also fill further details in that portal in the application form and submit the request. So this is the initial step. So whenever you're allocated to the project, your first focus should be towards this. So before you even raise a request, an email is required. So definitely it's not that if you ask today, definitely immediately the client will not give the approval email. You would need some follow-ups and all. That might take weekdays, that might take 2 weeks. It depends upon project to project. Okay. And once you go to this HXM portal, HXM Cloud Operations portal, so how does that look like? I'll just show you the document. And definitely you should be certified, guys, to access these portals. One should definitely be certified actually. Let me show you some document. So once you log in, I can't live log in into that system and I can't show you because that is all that will be generally tagged with our company logins. So we can't showcase that, but the document which shows you the screenshot. So once you go into this URL HXM Cloud Operations portal, you will be definitely shown up with a login screen where with your certification credentials, whenever you're certified, that S user credentials, what are given to you by SAP, with that only you will be able to log in into this portal. And at least one single module of SF you are certified, you will be able to log in. And in that, you will have a menu bar with multiple options. The first menu option, operation request, is what you have to select. Under operation request, there will be two options. In that, the first one, again, the request forms has to be selected. When you click on request forms, a screen comes in the name of BizX provisioning account mapping request. In that also the first one, customer instance access request, is what you have to click. So first menu item, in the drop down the first one, and in the next screen also again the first one, customer instance access request. So when you click on those things, you will be given with a form, CAR form. We say customer instance access request form. They call it as CAR. They don't call it as CAR. They call it as CAR. CAR they call. So CAR form is what we have to fill in with the client details, like the name of the customer. So if the Coca-Cola is the client, so Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited, like the client name, estimated go live date. So now if you're going to start the project in October, if then minimum like 6 months to 8 months, if it is going to take till next April kind of, you can give that go live date, estimated go live date, where your project manager can help you with that. And then here you have to fill the details of your company ID. Is nothing but the 10 character ID what has been allocated to this customer. That ID can be given. The data center. So here we get a drop down of all the 15 data centers across the globe. So in that 15, which data center has been given for this project, they can select that. And the company, that is the client side, whoever has provided the approval, so their email address, the client side project manager, whoever has given the approval, their email ID can also be given here. So that way we fill all these details. Everything is self-explanatory, nothing technical here. So just we have to fill all these details. And in the next page, you have to choose the module for which you are allocated to this project, so that you will be working on that project, on that module in this project. So if you are for EC, you choose. If you are for recruitment, choose recruitment. That way, and make sure you are certified in that module. The client should be having the access to that module. That is, they have the license to that module. The client doesn't even have license for recruitment module. And if you are raising the request as recruitment, your request will be denied, saying that client doesn't even have license for that module. that way. So for which module they have the license and on which you are certified, or only for that modules you should be raising the access. That way, choose your module where your name and email address will be already auto-populated here based on your login. And here we have to give the region and location of the project, guys. The region and location are nothing but where here in the region, you will get the list of all the continents actually as a drop down, like APAC, Latin America. So all these regions as a continental list, you get it. And if you choose it as Asia Pacific, then in the locations, all the locations in the APAC region will be coming as the countries basically. Okay. So if you're working from India, you'll choose it as APAC, India. If you're working from Middle East, so EMEA, with which country in the Middle East, like that you can choose the location from which you are working as a consultant. It's not the client location, your location. You might be working for a US project, Australia project, anything, but from where you are working is important that you have to select here. And the approval email what the client has given, that you can upload here, and your certification copies also that you can upload here. So that way, just filling all these self-explanatory fields, you submit the request. Max within 5 business days, you should get the access to the client's provisioning system. But these days they have even made it very faster, that max within 24 hours or on the same working day also, they are releasing the access if all the details are clear. That way. So 5 days, 5 business days is a max elapsed time, but it doesn't go till there. So this is your first activity to gain the access to the customer system. And how will you get the access finally once you do all these activities? A standard email from SAP will be generated in which it says, Mr. Dear Shiva, so you have been granted access to this so-and-so system. So this is the URL, this is the ID, password through which you should be able to access the client's provisioning system. They send out some standard email, URL, ID, password to access the provisioning backend of the SuccessFactors. So through that, you get an access to the provisioning system of a client. So this is the navigation, guys. Once you go into this URL and you log in, the first menu item, in that the first drop down, and in the next screen again the first link. Then once the 3 navigations are done, rest all will be explanatory. You just have to fill the form and get the application done. So this is how we have the initial steps to be performed whenever you're allocated, guys. First, take an approval email from the business, that is a client side, and that itself will sometimes take time. So example, you are allocated to the project, and suddenly if you want to find the person in the client side project manager, that's not that easy. So if you write an email, please approve, why will he approve? He don't know who you are. Who is Shiva of IBM? He don't know. So first, a client introduction meeting has to happen. So somebody from the IBM has to introduce you to the client side manager, saying that, so he's Mr. Shiva, he'll be working for Employee Central module in your project. He is Mr. Naresh, he'll work for performance management module. First, that client interaction meeting has to happen. Then client will know who you are and they'll be providing the approval. They can't randomly just approve an email if you send it out. So that would take sometimes just within the first week, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. It depends upon. So that will be the first thing. Okay. And if you have any questions, do not make sure to, do not forget to raise your hand, guys. And then, so once you get the access, as I told, the access is something that you will be receiving on email with the URL, ID, password and all. So you will be able to getting into the provisioning. And let me just show you the way how the provisioning screen actually looks like. And you have to make sure that you are having minimum 2 browsers in your laptop every time when you're working on this instance and provisioning both the systems. So one instance dedicatedly for, one browser dedicatedly for instance, and one other browser dedicatedly for provisioning. You have to use it, guys, because if you are trying to use both the systems in the same browser, whenever you open the second one, the first one gets logged out. That's some technical dependency that SAP has created actually. Just a second. Yeah, Deepti.
Hi, Shiva. Shiva, can you repeat the last part that you just mentioned that if we are using the provisioning, then we'll not be able to use the other system like,
In the same browser, you can't access it. So you need to have a separate browser. So if I'm already
okay,
logged
so
in like to the instance and I open another tab and I try to open the provisioning, instance gets logged out.
okay.
Okay. I'm just having some issue with the other browser, that is Firefox. Uh, let me try the Safari. Just a second. Safari doesn't have the credentials saved. Yeah. So this is how the provisioning screen looks like, guys. Once you get into that URL, what they have given. So this is how it comes up. And here inside is where we have to give the credentials and we have to get in. So please don't mind, guys. I had some issue with the Mozilla browser. I'm using another browser where I have to manually type in my credentials. Yeah, perfect. So on that provisioning link, I have given my credentials and I have got inside. And once we log in, so generally when it is your first project, so one line item will appear. And this they now you see 4 line items. Only one line item will appear for the first project that you are allocated with. So when you are going to start slowly working on the second project, third project, when your company is allocating you on different accounts, so every client related one line item will appear in the provisioning system. Okay. So in the one single login, multiple client systems you'll be able to access as a consultant in the background. One single login in the background in the provisioning side, multiple client systems will be accessible. But on the front end instance side, you will have dedicated URLs for every project. But for provisioning, it will be one dedicated URL for multiple accounts. So the first one you can say as PepsiCo Limited, second one as Coca-Cola, third one as Turkish Airlines, Indian Airlines. Like you can have different clients. So for which all projects you're working, each and every line item represents that, where every project will have its unique code, unique 10 character ID will be allocated for every project. Okay. So this is how the provisioning login looks like when you get it initially with a separate ID password, you'll be able to log in into it. Okay. Then the next thing is, once I get the access to the system, what should I do then? Okay, so it's great that I've got the access. Client has approved, then I submitted the request to SAP. SAP is also provided. So then what should I do in the provisioning once I get the access? Is that irrespective of you are a EC consultant or a PMGM or a recruitment, whichever module consultant, everybody have to make sure these basic activations are done in the provisioning. These are nothing is module related, platform related, SuccessFactors platform related. Few things like 4 or 5 things are will be there that everybody have to take care. And the previous step, whatever I told, that you have to raise a request for the provisioning system, every consultant is going to do it, guys. If there are 5 consultants who are going to work on this project, each and every one of them has to do. It's not the responsibility of just one single EC consultant or recruitment consultant. Everybody need to have their own provisioning access. Okay, So as once SAP has got the request, it will start granting to everybody, and all 5 of them are going to get the access to the same system. So there will be only one provisioning system for the client. So into that, all 5 of them are going to get the access. Okay. And here, once they get the access, these initial few steps is what that will be a common responsibility of everybody to take care. And in that, the first thing is languages. So if every company has a choice to choose from the 43 languages that is offering. So which languages for their project to be implemented. So that is what we can first activate in the provisioning level. Second, something like profiles. Third one has permissions to concept. Fourth one has some storage limit. Like this, one by one we have it, where I will practically open that screen in the provisioning and show you what you actually have to do, how to navigate and all. But everything in the provisioning will just be activations and enabling. That's it. Just a checkbox. That's it. You will not have any config to be done. Enable, disable a checkbox. That's it. Okay, very easy things. Before that, let me take some questions. Yeah, Deepti.
I'm sorry, I think I didn't lower my hand only after that.
That's fine, no problem. Shidal. Shidal, we are not able to hear you. Fine. If you have any questions, you can drop a chat, or in the question and answer also you can drop it, Shidal, if you have any issue with your audio. So coming into this points, guys, the first one is a language packs to be activated, where we have 43 languages that SAP has offered. So you have to activate all that. I mean, from that 43, you can activate the modules or the languages what you actually want. So if a client is having their offices in India and Middle East, so in India, they can activate English, where most of the companies use English as their official medium of communication. So English can be activated for Indians. And for Middle East, they can activate Arabic that way. If you have offices in Japan, you can activate Japanese. So it depends upon where your employees are actually located as per the localized languages. If required for India, Hindi can also be activated. Actually, we also have Hindi supported by SIF. Okay. So where do we activate? If we have to see that, let me get into the provisioning system. Just a second. So here we have the provisioning. So now among the 4 projects, for which project related you want to do, you have to choose it. So example, my company is this. The current project what I am dealing with is the second one in the list. You can click on it. Say if Coca-Cola is the account, here it might be represented as Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited in a hyperlink. If you just click on that hyperlink, it will take you inside that company specific config page. So this is that particular company specific page, in which the very first one called company settings will be there, where we have to do all these, where we have to perform all these activations kind of things. Company settings. So once you enter into the company specific page, in that company settings is the one you click on it. And once you enter into the company settings, there is the place where you will find all the required activations to be done. So once you enter here, scroll down a little bit, and from here you start finding the checkboxes. These are all the checkboxes, and there is no limit on it. Like almost you will find hundreds of checkboxes, guys, from top to bottom. This page is all about activations. Each and every line has a checkbox in the starting. So few are already checked, few are unchecked. If you want, you can enable them, you can disable them as per the requirements. So that is how the provisioning is. You will not have any configuration work here, all about enabling, disabling. And once the place where these checkboxes start, in the initial 10-15 rows itself, you have this language packs as a section. And here you have all the 43 languages that SAP supports today in SuccessFactors. All the 43 are listed. You can choose which language is comfortable in your company for the employees. That is based on the client requirement. Consultant will be able to do this. Okay, so these are all the languages. Any additional languages that we see default activated, we will remove them. Only the client specified languages will be kept. The UK English, US English, And you have at the bottom, you see Arabic supported for Middle East. You have Hindi for India. Like this, around the top significant 43 languages are available, and we can activate what the client would actually require, all with the checkboxes. Okay, so that is our first activation point, guys. First activation point in terms of the language packs. Second, we have something called as profile, where profile is about a page where we will maintain all the employee data in SuccessFactors. So the instance, if I log in into this instance system, so as I've been showing you in the last week sessions, that we will have a profile on everybody's name. So now I've logged in as an admin user called Anya Singh. So for this lady called Anya Singh also, this is a profile with a lot of information, contact details, address details, dependent details, salary details. A lot of things are present in this profile page actually. So here in this profile page, you will have all this information, and this profile page to be activated in the provisioning, you have to enable something called as profile v12. So this is a profile v12 with a checkbox that you have here, guys, that has to be activated. So v12 is nothing but the version 12 of the UI. The UI version 12, that is when SAP acquired SuccessFactors around 10 years back, it's on the version 9. In last 3 years, I mean, in the last 10 years, SAP has brought up the new version of the UI almost 3 times. So from V9, it went to V10, V11, and today at V12 we are. And even V12 is like almost from past 4 years minimum. So there we might expect an upgrade again on it, getting it to V13. So the current version of the UI that you see in the SuccessFactors for different screens and all is the 12th version of the UI with regular improvements. Okay, so to activate this profile page where all the employee data will be available, this profile v12 is one that you have to make sure you're activating. Okay, and then we have third one as permissions, guys. Activate RBP is nothing but role-based permissions. So basically there is a framework dedicatedly for this permissioning module actually. So across all the modules of SF, it might be recruitment, employee central, performance, anything. So the way how the permissions can be set up, it might be individual user permissions or a manager level or admin level, whatever. So we can look into that permissions using this third topic called activate RBPs. Role-based permissions is a permissioning framework actually, where if you search, you will be able to find it, where I am generally used to search with a keyword as refresh, guys. Just come on to the top of the page and then you click with the keyword as refresh, you get this. Just one line above this word as refresh, you will find that role-based permissions that you can activate. Okay, so just I generally prefer this word as a refresh. Just above that you will find this role-based permissions. This is an important permissioning framework that you have to activate for them. So that is the third one. And fourth one more is attachment storage limit. Attachment storage limit is, if you clearly observe, guys, it's not any limit on the employee data. If you're going to store some employee data in SuccessFactors, so it might be the data of employee central module, performance module, or any other module. So there we don't have any objection. Well, how much volume of data is going to be stored, that's okay. Because if you are a company with 100 employees, you take 100 licenses. If you are a company with 10,000 employees, you would take 10,000 licenses. So definitely based on the number of licenses, the SAP will be enhancing the volume of their database. So that's not at all a big deal. But in terms of attachments that you maintain in the system, like some employee, right from the employee's birth certificates or education certificates, some visa documents, resumes, on various things, we have a scan copy of the employee documents maintained in the profiles. So overall, in the form of attachments, whatever storage we are maintaining, that is actually consuming a lot of space in the cloud. So sometimes there will be a lot of unwanted documents also that will be just held up in the SuccessFactors space. So for that, SAP has come up with a maximum capping of 1 TB. That is 1000 GB of space is what that is given. So generally 1000 GB can't be soon exhausted by any clients until and unless they are a client with large employee force and they are using it for almost 5 years, 7 years, then only they might have the situation of exhausting that space. But in my last 7-8 years, I never experienced any client saying that space is exhausted. It still keeps going. So that attachment storage limit is actually given as 1000 GB as the maximum possible value. So that we can set in the provisioning again, where if you search in the name of document attachment. So here you will find a section called document attachment. So in this, the very first selection is attachment storage allocation, which is set to 500 GB. That can be increased to 750,000 slowly, but we encourage to keep it as 1000 GB right from day one itself. Because if it is say 500 completed, so if somebody has to change this to 750, client will not have this provisioning access and they again have to reach out to SAP. So instead of that, they can directly, if we keep it to 1000 GB, so this will not soon get exhausted. That keeps going for years. So that is one thing that we recommend, attachment storage allocation setting to 1000 GB. For the data, what you electronically maintain on the screen, like first name, last name, salary, all that, that's okay. In the form of a file scan copy that you maintain or a PDF attachment that you maintain, there only the issue is. So these are the first 4 activations that you have to take care, guys. Language packs, profile, permissions, attachment, storage, and all. Okay, those are the first initial 4 activations that anybody should be cautious about when they get the access to the provisioning system. And then for instance, what to do? So provisioning, we raise it to SAP and SAP provided the credentials. But how about the front-end instance means? So for the instance, we need not reach out to anybody. Once an individual has the access to the provisioning, he can himself generate the access to the front-end instance. So now in this current case, if we are already got the provisioning access and we have activated these 4 things, then you can go for the 5th step of creating your own admin user for the front-end instance system. So what is admin user is nothing but the user through which you'll be able to carry out your configurations. So every module consultant will create their own user, like EC admin user, PMGM admin user. They can create their own credentials with which they'll be able to log in every day and perform the configurations on the front-end instance side. That way we can create our own admin user in the provisioning itself, where you'll be having a area. Here it is. You can give your username, your password, your first name, last name, your email ID, all these you can fill it. This application form kind of, you'll fill this and you say, you click on create admin on the right hand side. When you click on create admin on the right hand side, system will be able to create that user. So with what username you would be able to log into the system every day on the instance, you can choose your username, your password, first name, last name, everything. So that is how we can create the credentials for excuse me, we can create the credentials for ourselves from the instance. Only for provisioning we have to reach out to SAP, but for instance we need not reach out to anybody. We can ourselves generate our credentials. Okay, so that is how it happens. So how do you reach out to SAP for access for provisioning? And once you get the access, what are the basic activations that you have to perform? In that process, how you create your own front-end instance access is all what we have discussed now. Okay, let me take some questions. Yeah, Paramita.
Yes, Shiva, can you please explain once more the admin user creation once more?
What's your question on that?
I just missed out few points, so that's why if you just explain to me.
Yeah, it's basically about creating the front-end instance access. As we have 2 systems, SuccessFactors provisioning system and the instance as 2 systems. So for getting the access to the provisioning, we reached out to SAP by raising a request in the cloud operations portal and all. But for the instance side of the system, so we need not reach out to any SAP. the person, once they got the access to the provisioning, from there they can create their own instance side of the access. So in the provisioning, you have this place where you have an option to enter the admin username, password, first name, last name, like this. That's admin user ID, admin password means it's you're basically for yourself, you are creating your own credentials, your own username, your own password, your name, your email ID, all the details you have to give in, and you have to click on the create admin on the right hand side. So then the system will generate a credential for you for the front end instance system. Okay. So the initial email that SAP has triggered with the provisioning URL ID password, in that the instance URL also they will include and they'll send from the standard email of SAP. Okay. And hope that answers your question.
Yeah, sure.
Next, Deepti.
Shiva, my question is regarding the role-based permission that you showed that how to activate it. My question is that how do we set it up?
That's
Because
a separate topic we have to work on. We'll
okay,
have
sure.
down the line, we'll have it almost 145 minutes of discussion we'll have on that. Most
Okay, sure.
probably tomorrow.
Yeah, because I was wondering that you showed how to activate. So because we are configuring everything.
No,
Thank
we
you.
haven't entered into configurations yet. We'll definitely look into it. Okay.
Hi Shiva. Actually, this activation is compulsory from client side. Is in success factor. Is it compulsory?
Sorry, I missed it. Can you come again? Please don't mind.
This activation are when I done the project from client side. So this is requirement. Is it compulsory activation?
What does that mean from the client side means?
When I doing the project from the client means Coca-Cola, these are activation
No,
in
no. You explain me that statement. Don't go to the second line. You explain me the first statement. I do the project from the client side. What does that from the client side mean?
I can't understand. Is this a provisioning system is client side means when I done the project, doing the project?
See, this training is for consultants.
Okay.
Okay, for the consultant. Client is not going to do the configurations, right? It is a consultant of the IT companies. So you will be an employee of IBM, Accenture, TCS, whatever IT company employee you will be. You work for the client project. Okay, you will get the access. Client has nothing to do. Client will never get the access to the provisioning at all. Only a certified SuccessFactors consultant will get the access to the provisioning.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get that the access, but is it client requirement, na?
Obviously, whatever we do in this system will be client requirements. So now, here if I have to activate some languages out of 43 languages, if I have to activate few languages, what language is to be activated, client only is going to say me. Profile, these things, these 2, 3, 4 points are mandatory. There is nothing to ask client. Definitely we have to activate profile V12. Definitely permissioning framework has to be activated. Attachment storage to be set to 1000 GB. These are all common for any business, any project. Here there is the 2, 3, 4 points, client has nothing to say. And even the fifth point is mandatorily required for you to have an ID password on the instance side front end. That is also mandatory. You need not ask client for that. Okay. Again, the last point, you will have a client dependency. So module specific. So what all PMGM features to be enabled, what all EC features to be enabled and all, client has to give the requirements. Accordingly, we enable the required things. The last step. Okay.
Okay.
Just a moment. There is a question in the chat. When we raise a cap, do we get the access to all 3 landscapes? Yeah, Shizal, for that, you will be raising 3 separate requests, Shizal. So when you want an access to the provisioning system of development, quality, production, so you will raise the request also 3 times. So when the project started now in October, you initially need an access for only development. this development goes for 5-6 months. So you will release the product for testing somewhere in next March or April. Then you will raise the request for quality system. So now itself you need not raise it for that. So once the testing time has come, somewhere in March you raise it, and after 1 month from then, when you need the access for the production, then you'll raise it for production. So at the particular point of time, you will raise it. Every time they give you the provisioning of that particular environment. Okay.
Got it. Shiva, when we initially do it, when a consultant initially raises a request for provisioning, they will get access. I mean, obviously for the dev system, and when you have that access and you create an instance, I mean, admin user to access the instance, that is again for the dev. Initially, it will be like this only, right? And then when you go to quality, then you do it separately for each landscape.
Exactly. Same steps you will repeat in the quality also. So you will raise an access for then again a care request will be raised for the quality. They give you it. From there, from the provisioning, you will raise your own instance side credentials for the quality system. Again, you will for the provisioning production you will raise it. Once you get it, provisioning production, I mean the production instance side you will create yourself. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So these are the steps that we have to take care whenever we start the project. First thing, to get the access to the provisioning system first of all. And once we get the access to the provisioning system by following these steps, by taking approval email from the client and raising a request in this portal, and within 5 days you get the access. So on getting the access, so every consultant has to make sure there are some activations they have to do in the provisioning level. So whether you are EC consultant, recruitment consultant, whoever, everybody has to definitely make sure of these things. Okay. And once you are done with these things, now if you are already done with the requirement gathering also, so the requirement gathering sessions are done, then you can do your regular configurations on the instance side. That is a way. Okay.
Yeah, Shiva, for increasing the storage limit, so each time we have to reach out to SAP support, or we will be having the privileges to modify the changes.
That's what provisioning side is where we have, and that's what I've clearly told you. On the day one itself, we are setting it to 1000 GB. Then there is no point of again reaching out to SAP for changing it and all. 1000 is the maximum possible that we can have. On the day one itself, if I keep it to 1000, then there is no situation that you have to reach out to SAP. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just give me a moment. Okay, so that is about the first things. Next, we'll get into the instance system. So no more slides for some time. Let's go into the instance system side, and we look into one topic, which is upgrades, guys. So every 6 months, when we get the upgrades on the SuccessFactors, on every module, SF will be releasing some new features, functionalities in the name of upgrades. So how do we avail them is what we have to look at. So for that, you have a place called as Upgrade Center. Upgrade Center, if you search here on the top, you get this. Under this, all the upgrades will be listed actually. So all the updates, what all will be given in the system will be even prioritized, like mandatory upgrades, recommended, optional kind of. So important are like mandatory, you have to upgrade it. Recommended are definitely good to have features, and optional is even if you don't upgrade it, nobody is bothered about it that way. So these are three different what do you say, three recommendations that SAP generally gives. And even before these things, one more part is universal upgrades we have, guys. Generally, what all updates that we get every 6 months are divided into two types: universal and admin opt. Admin opt. So admin opt are here, where administrator has to come and opt what they want, what they don't want. But one set is the universal, where that will be most of the time the cosmetic things, which doesn't require any customer approval. Automatically that will be applied, universal upgrades. Okay, so that will apply automatically every 6 months. Whenever these upgrades are happening, they have some downtime of somewhere 3 to 6 hours average. So they have a downtime, that to weekends in the late night hours from Friday evening to Monday morning. So across the geographies, across the time zones, SAP will conduct these upgrades actually. And uh, those are going to give some new features and functionalities as a universal upgrades automatically across different modules. So what we finally come and see here in the upgrade center is those that are not automated, those that are not part of automatic upgrade, which you would need to choose whether that would be suitable in your company or not. As an administrator, somebody has to choose it. So that will be available here. That way, first the two upgrades are divided, universal and admin opt. So these are all admin opt, where admin has to opt it if they want it or leave it. And how do we perform that upgrade is, so whichever upgrade you want to just perform, you can just go to there, and there you can just click on learn more and upgrade now. Learn more and upgrade now is a link that you will have against everything. You can go inside, and their system will be giving a detailed description of what is actually being brought through this update, the detailed description, and a small snippet of video representation of what is going to come up without any audio, just a video with a few seconds of new things what are going to come through this, and some prerequisite like what are the things that you have to make a note before you doing this, all that are listed. And if you are okay, you can click on the upgrade button, and when you click on upgrade now button, it will hardly take 2 minutes or 3 minutes for any upgrade to be applied, and you need not even wait. You click on upgrade and you just go into the other screen and you perform your regular transactions. You need not even wait for it. So after some time, you log out and log in back. In your next login, the new feature, whatever you upgraded, even starts appearing in the system. Okay, from your next login, you will have that feature showing up in the system after the logout and login. So that is how we'll have the, that is how we'll actually have the upgrade center usage that will be done. And here, if we upgrade it, it's not for only that individual user, guys, across the company. Anybody upgrading a feature, it's generally across the project. If there are 1,000 employees in the company, for all 1,000 employees, that feature starts appearing. It's not only for you that way. And once you are back into the regular screen, second, it's taking time. Yeah. So once you are into this regular screen where all the updates are being listed with their priority wise, so we'll also have an option to look at those upgrades that are previously completed, guys. So here on the top, you have this URL, view recently completed upgrades. Here you have a link where you can click on this link and go inside, view recently completed upgrades. So it says the word as recently, but from last 7-8 years, what our upgrades are done through the screen, you will have it. See, 2015, 2018, 2020, 16, like various years related, you will have it. And the 2022 are at the complete bottom. And any upgrade that you have actually done within 30 days, you will have an option to even revert it back, guys. Any upgrade will be having an option to revert it back. So you made an update as an administrator, you upgraded it, example, and employees, once they started using it, once they started looking at it and using it, if they feel this is not working properly, or so the old screen itself is user friendly, this screen is not user friendly, kind of any negative feedback that you get, you can undo that, where an undo is a feature that will be available for max 30 days. Once you upgrade it today, within 30 days, if you want to change your mind, you can deactivate it by clicking on undo. But post 30 days, you can't do it yourself here in the instance. You have to reach out to the consultants, where consultant has to do it something in the provisioning side in the background. But from the instance side, if a client has to do it by themselves, it will be only for a period of 30 days. in which they have to take a decision to continue or to revert it back. Okay, so this way. And one more key point to be noted, guys, any upgrades, it might be universal or admin opt, anything will never affect the existing configurations, existing processes, anything. Okay, this SuccessFactors being a cloud product, that will be taken care. So no existing configured processes or configurations will be disturbed. Anything coming new will be something a add-on to the existing things, but that will not override the existing things. Okay, so that is the key point, and this is how the upgrade center functionality basically functions. Yeah, Preeti.
Yeah, so Shiva, I wanted to ask about this upgrade. So basically, for this admin opt upgrades, is it client who reviews all the ones which are released and then provides us a ticket to apply some of, because these will require the client approval, right? Or like whose responsibility is this, or is it the consultant who are assigned for the support of the project? They will review all the list of upgrades and discuss with the client that these are available options, and then they approve.
Primary is primary is the client, guys. Every project doesn't have a support team. So there are many projects where business only will take care, because SuccessFactors upgrades are nothing technical. They don't require any technical assistance. They just have to go through the documentation, and if they have any clarifications on that, they can reach out to official SAP on it. The official SAP teams will be helping them to understand. So that way, and they can upgrade by themselves. So the first responsibility is the client. If a client is having a support engagement, then they can assign it to the team members. But end of the day, again, it is a client decision to read, understand, or the consultant will explain them, and they have to understand and they have to take a call. This is okay, we want to activate it, we don't want to activate it, that way. So we maximum help a consultant can do is to go and click on the upgrade button, nothing more than that.
Okay. So basically it's the client's admin users who will be deciding and doing the upgrades on their end.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sheetal?
Yeah, Shiva. So just to confirm, you said it will be the client who will be upgrading, like the role given, the permission will be given to the client to upgrade, after going through these, or the consultants will, be a part of it.
That's what I just told. Primary will be the client. If client wants to take the help of the consultants, they can. It's not mandatory. SAP has designed it in such that the client can themselves handle it without any technical support.
So, and like you said, every 6 months SAP comes up with, upgrades. So, in real time scenario in projects, how does it happen? Like every 6 months, client will just sit down and discuss it, and, they'll go through it and, upgrade it. Is that all about it?
Of course, yes. So
and the testing part and,
Yeah, first it will be released in the testing systems, and there will be a period of around 30 to 40 days for them to be released in the production system. So in that 30-40 days of time, they can first test it in the lower systems like testing systems or development systems. They'll test there, and even if they find some issues with the latest features, anything, they'll be able to find it out in that period what they have before it comes to the production, and they can reach out to SAP. So there will be some channels where whenever you find some issue with the upgrade, you can raise that to the engineering teams. Okay, and from there you will be able to get it driven in such a way that the issue is resolved before it reaches to the production, or in production you can take a decision not to upgrade that feature, all that. Majority of the clients, frankly speaking, they do it directly in the production, guys, because 99% there will never be an issue that because activating this feature something is not functioning or sort of doesn't happen. 99% no, nothing happens. So majority of the clients in the real time, they directly upgrade it in the production itself. They don't even test it in the lower systems. Okay. That is the way. And this is something we as a consultant, we will explain the client the way how I am explaining you this topic in last 10 minutes. Similar way we explain them. So once the project is completed and we left, it is regularly every 6 months or next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line, it is the client side people who should take that responsibility. So they're down the line for years together, they don't have a support team. Okay, maximum after the project 1-2 years the support team can exist. Post that, maximum customers don't continue the support. Okay, so that is the way how the upgrade center functions. And next thing that we have to look at is, let me have a look at the agenda that I prepared. Theme manager, guys. Excuse me. So theme manager is one concept where now the colors, if you see in this page on the top, you have some dark, you can say it's some dark grayish or a dark bluish color or whatever on the top. And here in the under the quick actions in the background, this is a gray color in the background that you are having. And when I mouse over, when I click on this home drop down here, when I'm just moving my cursor, a light gray color is getting highlighted in the background. So all these colors we can actually update. So that is where the theme of the system is based on. So if you search with the keyword as theme, you get a tool called as theme manager, guys. Giving it a keyword as theme gives you an access to a concept called as theme manager, where in this there will be some SAP standard delivered themes of around 25 standard actually. So here in this page, if you scroll down, these are locked icon, lock the standard delivered themes. So against every theme you will have, so if you take this theme dark tail orange sandy theme, so against this theme on the extreme right you have these options called try it out and duplicate like this. So if you use this try it out option as per that theme what SAP has given, you will have the complete change of the UI. You see this, some orange color highlighting color has started appearing. And if you go for the home page, so you see this complete background got changed. In the previous one, at the under the quick actions, it used to be a gray color in the background. Even that has changed to the header level, had the same combination of header. The image, the logo of the company, which used to come on the left hand top corner, it went to the right hand top corner. And when you click on this home drop down here, every module when you're highlighting, so on the background it is a orange color that is getting upgraded, and that is getting highlighted. So that way, in this theme, these are the things, these are the color combinations, these are the changes that we observe. Like that, every theme will have their specific color combinations actually. So the client can have they can spend some time of 1-2 hours. They can use this try it out option against every theme. So whichever the theme, after using it for 10 minutes every theme, so they can come to a conclusion like which theme will be suitable for them based on their company's signature colors and all. So every company based on their product line and all, they have some theme colors. Okay, so they decide to have their websites, their internal portals, everything in those theme colors generally. So then we have to look for that color combinations. So whichever you feel that is comfort, that would be right fit for your company, that the consultant can keep it as default. If you keep it as default, so every employee in that organization will start using, every employee in the organization will start seeing that theme when they log in. That. And here you also have an option that a client can come and say, I'm okay with this theme, which is this one, the dark tail orange sandy theme. If we say we will be able to duplicate it. Okay, so in that case, we can make the changes. So a client says, I am okay with this, but not okay with as it is standard. With some slight changes, I would go with this. Then I can go for a duplicate option. And in the duplicate, you will get a localized version of it. So as a save as copy kind of. So that is on the top. You see all those that are copied here are aligned here on the top, saying as copy of, copy of, copy of like this. So copy of standard will be coming, that you will be able to edit. The standard things are locked actually, you can't edit them. So the custom ones are what you can actually lock. in the custom ones are what you can actually edit. Okay, so if I go for anything, the same orange one I'll try. So this one, if I just go for duplicate option, a copy version is going to be created. So this is the one you see, copy of the dark tail one is created, and here you'll have an option called fine tune. So under this fine tune, you will have the list of various changes that you can actually do on the home page. And as per the changes that you're doing here, on the right hand side, you will be able to see the preview of the change. Whatever change you're going, the immediate preview can be seen, and you can decide whether that color will be good in your company or not, sort of. Okay. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So here, if you see about the fine tuning, the first one is a background, guys. In the background, so the here in the background beside these styles and all, what is there? It is dark sandy. So that you can change it to some light color, light. I can go for diagonal stripes light. So this is a light color with some stripes, diagonal stripes, if you properly follow. So that way you can go with different textures that are available, or you can make use of an image. You can actually upload an image in the background. Okay. So this way you will have the options to choose from the existing textures or upload some background image, sort of. And then you will, let me go for some blue light. Yeah. And then you have header background. So that is header background is only this area, guys. This slight rectangular shape. Header background is that. So here you can go with default means as per the theme, as per the bottom background what you have selected, the combination as the default gets for the background. So if you want, you can even choose a solid color, specific color, whatever is of your choice. You can choose it actually. So like this, you can pick the colors and you can give it this way. So this is header background level, the way you can start editing it with the default color it comes, or you want to go with your own combination and all, that is possible here. Next one for logo, important point is the logo position. You want your logo to be on the right corner or left corner or center of the page, you can choose it. So that is the logo. Then placemat is this headings, guys. In every page you have this heading, right? Like page title kind of. So that is called placemat. So now that is in white color. If you wish to have it in black, so you can change it to black. So that is, now you see immediately the page titles, page title has started coming in black. So that way, this is the placemat that will be helping you to identify these sort of page titles and all. And then we have module picker. So this module picker is this one. So generally people call it as home drop down. It is actually called as module picker. So for this module picker here, so here you have different options. Label text color default. So it is default appearing in blue, sorry, in white. In the white background, this blue is not so readable. So I can change it. So to black, if I change example. Like this. Now it is more readable in black. Label text color default. When I mouse over, it is again going into white. So label text color hover. When I mouse over, so if it should I have to go to red, say, click on apply. And when I go here, you see this, the module picker is getting highlighted in red. That is basically because of this. Label text color hover. So like this, we have these options in the module picker. And then we can look at the, what do you say, buttons. So in every page, you will have two kinds of buttons. Yes, no, save, cancel, submit, cancel. Like this, you will have in every page. So you will have two buttons, primary and secondary. So secondary will every time be grayed out fields, where primary fields is what we have to consider in terms of the themes to match color combinations and all. So here currently it is black text with an orange background. When I mouse over, it is again the black with dark orange background. So that if you want to update, yes, in the primary button. So text color default, which is black, I want to change it to say white. Keep it to white. It is changed. Next, text color hover. When I mouse over it, it again goes to black. If you want to change that also, you can change it. Next week is background color default. That is background, it is the orange color. So that if you wanted to bring it to some bluer shade, you can. Okay, so now the background completely from orange, I've changed it to this blue to match my page background color. I've changed it. Okay, so that way you will have the option for the text color default and hover, background color default and hover. Like this, you can keep working with the color combinations of the buttons as well. So these are the different options that we generally have on the left hand side through which we will be able to customize it and see the output of it. Okay, where if it is the slight changes that the client has, we will be copying the standard and we will be able to do it, guys, some changes. But if it is too far, if it is a lot of changes, it's almost a custom one they are building kind of, then we generally say to nominate somebody in their internal team for this activity, where we will train them the way how I am explaining you. We will explain them with all the possibilities, features, and how should they use it, and they then themselves can design it. Okay, so we don't do it. We leave it on the client responsibility, because we are business consultants and we are not designers, programmers to sit on do that designing. So it is the client side nominated people can do it. Finally, if they say this is what we have designed, we'll activate it that way. So it is, if it is slight changes, we will do it, guys. But if it is a huge changes, we'll cascade this activity to the client side itself. So here, whichever theme you decided to go with the default, you can keep that as default. So for every employee in the company, that particular theme should appear. That is all. And yeah, Kavita.
Can I see the retail tiles reflection?
What is it? Can you come again?
In admin. Retail
Admin?
tiles reflection on the screen.
No, which one? Can you come again? I'm not able to get you properly. Which one you're referring here?
V12 tiles.
V12 tiles. Okay, okay. This one, V12 tiles. Okay, V12 tiles are the tiles, what you're seeing here. For that, if you want to make any changes, you can make the changes and you'll be able to see them. Basically, we are almost on the latest home page. So here it's all the cards actually now. There is no longer tiles, it's all the cards actually. The latest homepage, what we are seeing, the currently the system, even what I'm showing is the recent release where we have got the latest homepage. So these tiles, we don't have this terminology as tiles anymore. It is everything the cards. Okay.
Here is not changes in this card tiles, right?
Exactly. They'll take care of it. It's an SAP thing. And here one more thing, guys. So whichever theme we keep it as default, that theme will be applicable for every employee in the company, as told. That is one way. We also have an option of having themes based on some groups, like employees of these departments should have this theme. Employees of other departments should have other theme, like that. We can choose that. That is this option of visible to. So this visible to, now here you have the list of all the departments being displayed. Sales, finance, IT, different departments, HR, all that. So the first theme, I can say this is applicable for the first 3 departments, example. Next, the second theme is applicable for the next 3 departments. This way. So like that, I can keep choosing each and every theme being applicable for different sets of people. Okay, that is one way. But here, instead of departments, if my client asks, I want it based on locations, I can even do that. Instead of departments, I can come up with a list called locations. so that for the employees of that particular locations, this theme should appear. For other locations, other theme should appear. Even if we can do such sort of settings. Okay. So currently it is the list of the departments it is coming. If you want to get it locations in the provisioning side, we have to make a small change. Then the locations list will come and we can segregate the themes location wise. Okay. So that is the provisioning side. I'll just show you. Before that, let me take a question. Yeah, Preeti.
Yeah, so Shiva, you mentioned like the client users, admin users can do the settings in the UI, right? For the theme, the colors and everything. But we can activate it. So what do you mean by we can activate it?
No, did I say something as activate? I did not get you.
Yeah, you mentioned like we can activate, but we can have, the client themselves can make the setting like you were showing the font colors.
Default here, defaulting. They can make the changes and they can save their version of the theme, and that keeping it as default is what we are activating for all the employees. If I keep that particular theme, what the client has now made the changes and say, Mr. Shiva, this is what we have designed with all our requirements. Okay, this I'll set it as default. That is where we are activating it for all the employees. Okay.
Okay, so basically the one that you're showing the default checkbox, that is what we activate.
Exactly. So whichever you set it as
And the
default,
client user would not have access to this. Like I'm trying to differentiate between what access the client users will have versus the consultant will have.
Internally, you don't have any difference here. If you get the access to this managed themes, they also can keep it as default. Okay. Once you give the access, they do or we do, it's all the same. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just show you the provisioning where this current list of departments, if we have to change it to locations, where can we do? I'll just show you. It is in the provisioning. This is our provisioning system. Yes, it's logged out. So generally provisioning gets logs out every 5-10 minutes if there is no activity, guys. If it is inactive. Let me log in back. Just a second. Yeah. So once I logged in into the provisioning, I'll select the client for which client related I'm working currently. So once I click on it, it enters into the system, and here the company settings is a place where we do all that initial activations and all. So you go under the same company settings. In this company settings page, where I shown you that you'll have hundreds of checkboxes, in the same screen, if you search with the keyword as theme, the same screen, search with the keyword as theme, here you get it, guys. Field user to group users to theme. So here it is, division wise, department wise, or location wise. You have three things: division wise, or department wise, or location wise. These are the only three options we have. So if I keep it as location, all the locations will come there so that the company can use the location wise grouping. If I keep it as departments, the department wise grouping. Any one is possible at a time, and the maximum possible options are these three. We can segregate the home page based on the department of the employees, division of employees, or location of employees. Not if you want to have it on based on the country of the employees, company of the employees, like that, it doesn't work. Only on these three parameters SAP supports it today. Okay, so here if I keep it as locations and if I save it in the provisioning side, on the front end instance, here the drop down will come as the locations of the company. So first theme is for Hyderabad location, second theme is for Chicago location, third one is for Sydney location, like that I can give it. Okay. So that is the theme manager concept base, which is pretty simple. Every customer doesn't go for customization. So we generally get the 20 themes as standard. And most of the customers will use one of the standard things itself. If really we come across that situation, this is how we can do it and make the changes. Okay. Let me take some question. So these are all the main agenda items that I have actually focused for the day, which is how the day one activities and followed by the way how you get the access to the provisioning instance, upgrade center, how do you perform the activities in the upgrade center, and the theme manager, the main focus areas. So across all these 4 topics that we have been looking at, any questions from anyone? These are the 4 things that we have discussed, guys. Okay. So the next thing that we have to look at is how do we load the users into SuccessFactors, so that from next, if we have to start our configurations, for every config that I do, I need to load some, I need to have some testing done. Okay, so when SuccessFactors being a system where employees will be doing something that goes for managers approval, HR approval, like this, so we need some configurations to be done and we need a team of users, some test users at least, to do the testing. Okay, so for that, definitely we'll ask the client to provide them some data. So we don't want all your employee data at this stage, some at least minimum sample data, so on which we'll be able to do some test scenarios and all. So the first mini master data is what we'll be uploading, guys, to do our testings and all. So in that context, we have to discuss on one point, which is basically regarding the context of understanding what is user import and employee import. So we can, what is the difference between the terminology of user and employee? So when do we call it as user, when do we call it as employee, is what we'll discuss. So if here one is, most of the people doesn't, SuccessFactors can be implemented with or without employee central. So that is a misconception in the market. People think like employee central is a mandatory module, very important module, core module, all that. Yes, of course, I agree with all that. Core, important, a module which has all the initial core activities covered and all, but it's not mandatory. If you want to directly implement recruitment, you can. Directly performance management, like that, you can directly do. So that is the first thing that everybody should have a clarity. But of course, yes, there are multiple clients. Majority of the clients that will opt for employee central for sure. Okay, that's a secondary thing. But in terms of technical capability, SF can be implemented with or without EC. There are thousands of consultants in the market who don't know EC at all. They work on recruitment, they work on PMGM, other modules. Okay, that is one thing. And if a client is not implementing employee central in SF, so the main functionality, what happens in employee central, is missing in that system in that case. So what I generally EC does is hiring, promotions, transfers, terminations, all this employee activities is what that will be done in EC. When you don't have EC, Definitely customer might be having some other system to do these activities, like again hiring, promotion, transfers, terminations and all. If not in this system, they might be done in some other system. So you can't avoid hiring, you can't avoid promotions, transfers, anything in any company. If not in SF system, some other system you might be doing it. So that system is what we call it as a legacy system. The legacy system is what we call it as that. And success factors in that case will be just referred as a talent suite. SF as a talent suite only for implementing recruitment, compensation, LMS, performance, whatever the talent modules are being used. The core process of hiring the employees, promotion, transfers and all is happening in the legacy system. So the place where you hire an employee, you can call him as employee. In SF, when you are not doing any hiring, here I don't call them as employees, here I'll call it as only users. When SuccessFactors is being implemented without EC, then in SF they are just users. The way we are users in Facebook, the way we are users in LinkedIn, we are users in this SuccessFactors that way. So that is a terminology difference that we generally have, guys, which is when you have employee central, you can call it as employees. When you don't have employee central, you can just refer them as users. That's it. And when you are using SuccessFactors without employee central, then only mini master data is required to be maintained. I don't want the entire information, entire history and all. So as on date, what is the employee's designation? On which department he is, which location he is, who is his supervisor? So like with the mini master information with the latest today's information only is what we'll maintain in the SuccessFactors when it is a non-EC system. Okay. Mini master, no historic, and latest data are the three important points to be considered. So that is first to give you an understanding of things like when do you call it as an employee, when you call it as a user. And if it is a non-EC, we can just create some users with only the mini master information actually. Okay. So now in the system, we will be able to perform that mini master import in the initial days to create some users in the system. And that place in the instance is where we call it as import employee data. So here in this import employee data, here we'll have different kinds of information that we can import. The very first one, basic import, is what we actually have to do. Basic import. So that basic import will contain the mini master information what they require. That way. So here in that import employee data, choosing it as basic import, we'll do it. This current system what I'm using is already an employee central activated system. That's why you are seeing the title as import employee. If it is non-EC activated, it will be just coming as import user data. Instead of employee data, they'll get it as import user data actually. Okay. So that way this file will be importing. And how does that file, the mini master data file actually looks like? Let me also give you a glance of it. One second. This is a one. So this is a file that contains the mini master information for every employee, only one record, today latest record. So for employee number one, today, what is the title? Today, what is the, what do you say, the department, who is the manager? As on date, who is the manager, who is the department, which is the location, all that. As on date information is what we maintain, and we will be able to upload it into the SuccessFactors system. So it will be only one record per user on an average of around 25 fields of information. We'll be loading it. Okay. So how to use this file? What is the meaning of each and every column here? Okay. So that is all a separate discussion that we'll initiate it today. So we are just left out with 20 more minutes. We can't do it. So we'll take it tomorrow. But first, my intention is to tell you that key points is EC is not mandatory. SF can be implemented with or without EC. And if EC is going to be, if EC is not going to be there, then the mini master information is only what other talent modules will be expecting. So what is employee's salary 10 years ago? What is employee's designation 10 years ago? Nothing is required. They just look at the latest as on date record to do the performance process, to do the recruitment process, any module, only the latest as on date record is required. Okay, so that is how the users import will happen in a non-EC system. So as I just now mentioned, the detailed explanation of this each and every column and importing and all, we'll do it later. Let me take some questions. Yeah, Paramita.
Yes, I have one query as you were showing us that regarding that import the data. So can you please go to that screen?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, here you mentioned that we have to in this, select an entity, we have to go for the basic import, and the title which has been given here, it is import employee data, but you also mentioned that it can be import user data, right? So when that scenario will happen, can you please explain that?
When we have not implemented EC, if EC module is not activated in the system, if it is only recruitment, PMGM, those are activated, then you will not see the terminology as employee, you will just see the terminology as user in the system.
Okay, that means import user data by the time.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, but in the Excel sheet you have shown that mini master data is required when EC is not there, and we are using the SF as a talent suite. But here also we are importing the mini master data, right? So in that case, why the title is showing as import employee data? Then it should be import user data.
That's what my system is activated with employees and earlier. That's why.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Sheetal, please.
Yeah. So when so firstly the question is the template provided for uploading this file by SF itself?
Yeah, that's all standard. In SAP, it's all standard. In SuccessFactors, it's all standard. And you can even add additional custom columns also. Up to 15 additional custom columns can also be added.
Okay, and like you said, in your instance, the employee central is already there. So if employee central is already there, then does the system allow you to import a mini master, or is it like you can do it but they are stored like separately?
No, definitely for employee central also mini master is required. If it is employee central, without stopping with mini master, we still have to upload various other files. If it is non-EC, we stop with only basic import.
So in general, like in a project, do you see both these things being imported? Like employee central data is intact, and the basic, the mini master is also intact, like separate.
Basic import itself is mini master. Okay. When I say mini master file, there is a basic import file. Technically, they call it as basic. In the normal unofficial language, we call it as mini master information, because we are just maintaining the latest single record with latest today's title, today's manager, today's department and all, without any history of the employee. So that's why we call it as mini master. So that is what in the system it is basic import. Both are same. Okay. So we have 3 total different terminologies for that. I also have listed that. This one, you can call it as basic import or mini master data or UDF file, user directory file. 3 things you can call it as. Okay, the first 2 things you find it in the system generally, basic import and user directory. Last one is completely unofficial, so people doesn't find it anywhere documented, but in the general usage you can call it as mini master. Got it? Fine. Any other queries, guys? Have anyone? So that's it for the day. Where in the tomorrow's session, we'll be looking at this file, understanding this file, each and every column of it, what are mandatory columns, so how do you prepare the file and how do you import it. So once you import, how the users are created and all. And for that users that are getting created through this import process, definitely there should be some permissions for them. So once we are creating that users such that they'll be able to log in. So we definitely need some permissions as one user as an employee, one user as a manager and all. So there will be some permissioning concept that we have to set up. So how does the permissions concept work? Even that will be the followed up discussion. So mostly tomorrow's my maximum time will be done with these two topics. So how to understand this file and import the users. For that users, how do you set up permissioning? Two important things. Okay. Any others pending with the questions?
Hi Shiva, when we import the data, this master data is a statical data, means is updated data every time we are choosing the file import data.
So for the first time we do the manual import generally. Later it will be an integration. So if you're going to, if your client is not using SuccessFactors and they're using some other HR system, legacy system, between these two systems there will be an integration established. So that there will be continuously, whenever there is a new employee hired here, for that employee a user will be created in this system. When employee's data changed, like in this employee's designation got changed, he got promotion, so that latest job title will be communicated to SF. Again, if an employee got terminated in the primary system, so that for that employee, whatever is a user got created in SF, that user becomes inactive here. That way it will be an integration we'll be establishing to automatically communicate changes happening in the legacy to the SuccessFactors system continuously.
Okay.
For the first time import, we do it manually. Later it will be all integrated.
Okay.
Okay. That's a very good question actually. That's something that I'll be generally discussing tomorrow. That question actually gives me a confidence that you are clear with the point. Any others? Perfect, guys. Let's again connect back tomorrow same time where we'll be uploading the users and see the permissioning concept as well. Thank you one and all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shiva.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.